Hey everyone, today I want to go through the Packers' second preseason game, and there's a few things that really jumped out to me in watching it, and I've listed them here, and we'll go through them with some film breakdown, but let me just summarize some things I noticed. First of all, everyone knows this, it's very obvious, Davante Adams is an absolute beast. There's just two plays I want to show you in how he releases and how he sets up his routes that are just you don't see it often in the NFL. It's just so impressive and just kind of summarizes all the production you see on the field and you can just see why. And then to play off of Davante Adams, when you watch him play, and obviously he's a top 10, maybe top 5 receiver in the NFL, so it's not really completely fair to compare him to rookies, but when you look at the rookies, there's a few things that you can just tell when you look at them. And oops, I spelled this wrong. We'll fix this mid video. And the biggest problem I think for the rookies right now, they've been performing really well, but all of their routes they run are really predictable, and they're predictable because they run routes that they're good at. And so we'll go through these, each one of them, and they've been playing well, but if you follow these guys from college, you'll notice that basically all the Packers are having them run right now are the routes that they're strong at. So if you're a team that's familiar with them or watch any of their college tape or any of this preseason, when they get on the field, you kind of know what they're about to run, and it's a problem. But not to say too much negative, let's throw in some positive here. And Jamon Moore and Kumaro had some really nice plays in this game that really can kind of show you where that they're at least developing really well, and I'll show you what those look like. Something that also came out of this game would be Mohammed Wilkerson versus Montravius Adams. Now, I made a video on Montravius Adams previously from preseason 1 game. And now that Mohammed Wilkerson got out there, you can kind of see what he's looking like in this scheme. And, I guess I have some questions. Adams is looking so good this preseason, and Wilkerson kind of shaky. I mean, you can kind of tell there's a reason New York might have wanted to get rid of him. And he has some good plays too, but let's show some video on what I'm seeing here. And then we'll go through some offensive play calling that I found intriguing. The rise of Reggie Gilbert, who's a monster. And then lastly, the Packers secondary scheme. It's looking kind of like what the Philadelphia Eagles use. Alright, let's start with Davante Adams here. And this is the big play he catches, and it's just a slant, but it's really important to notice his body movement and how he executes this slant. On this play here, watch it in full speed first. Watch here, let me try to pause it. Watch right. I can't pause in time. Let's slow the film down real quick. One more time in full motion here. Look at that separation on that slant. And let's go into how that happens. Now, if I slow this down, we're going to pause his body, and you're going to see how it's so impressive he gets this separation. Now, right here. Now, when you watch this, how he makes this cut, look at his hips right here. He, first of all, gets up on the defender really quickly and gets close to him. Secondly, he has a really nice way he runs about himself. He has kind of a wider step, which allows him when he gets close to someone to threaten them because he's not so choppy. He can make exaggerated cuts, and this is just a basic basketball crossover move. But here's what's impressive about this move is that his hips, he's planted his foot and he's gotten up on this cornerback, and his hips are actually still pointing to the outside. So not only has he gotten up on this cornerback and made him feel uncomfortable, but he's made this wide step here, and his hips are still turned. His hips and his foot are all still turned like he's going to go outside right before he makes his cut. Now, this is his plant foot, and he's able to shoot off of this gap with his hips not turned that way and create that much separation. And that is something you do not see in NFL receivers. Not at least only the good ones. And again, one more time, hip pointed, makes a hard step and is able to just come across and make a beautiful play. And then here, another nice play, and this goes back to how he's able to make the initial play. He gets this catch, and then I think it's Morgan Burnett, yeah, comes down on him, and Morgan Burnett was on his team. So he knows how fast he is. But still, he makes the catch here, and then he takes still a bad angle, even though he knows Davante Adams. And part of that is Davante is just, look at that sneaky acceleration. Whenever you see defenders taking such a bad angle, it usually just means the offensive player had such impressive or sneaky acceleration. And that goes into this route as well. The way he sets this up, he starts early. He gets his double step in here, and it's kind of like what his move is kind of a combination of basketball and soccer. Now, like soccer, you don't want to always be playing at 100%. A lot of good plays come from decelerating and accelerating, and it's kind of deceiving. You want to lull them to sleep. You want to start at one speed and then explode. And he does, and he gets up so quickly on the cornerback with the quick jump step that it surprises the cornerback. And then he has this great crossover move where his hips are aligned and he can explode out of it. And I mean, this is just perfection in terms of a slant play, and it's why he was able to gain such a good amount of yards off this, how he gets so open, and why he's such an impressive receiver. All right, and here's the touchdown play. It's another great Davante Adams play. This should have been a touchdown for him as well, but he does the same move. So going into this play call, Roger signals to him. He's going on a post pattern. Now watch, he gets up quickly on the cornerback again, and it's the same again. Oh, missed it, kind of. Missed the pause on that. But it's the same exact move. He gets up on the cornerback, and again, same kind of plant. Plants his outside, drives his hips. He's still facing this way. Crosses over the cornerback, and right here, wide open. This could be a touchdown also. Rodgers doesn't quite throw it. Rodgers had pulled off him already because of the defense pressuring here. But another beautiful play in short yardage, is just explosive, can make a great cut, and completely fool the defense. Now, to compare what we just watched from Davante Adams and how beautiful that slant is, we'll show you what is not necessarily a good slant. And it's going to be here Marquez Scantling, Valdez Scantling. And, again, he's just a rookie, and this is not his strong suit. But watch the difference in the route here. Look at him come off here. He's right here. And it's just, he's so choppy. It's not very deceiving. He doesn't get up on the cornerback quickly. All his movement is so choppy, and there's no exaggeration. There's no selling. Now I know he makes a catch on this play, and that's a great play, good play to make the catch. But against a starting cornerback, look how choppy he is and how not sudden he is. And this will go into my segment on the Packers rookies wide receivers and their predictability. Now that is just, again, not a very good slant, even though it's caught. Against an NFL starter, that's not working. But let's talk about real quickly what the rookies are doing, how they're succeeding, and why they haven't completely developed yet. And it goes back to the fact that, again, they are making them run routes they're good at, and they're being successful. But anyone who's game plans for them, watches any film, or is doing stuff that's not preseason, trying to win a game. In preseason, people are just trying to line up your defense and your offense, beat the man across from you, see who can do what. But in the regular season, they're going to be film study, there's going to be scheming, there's going to be an understanding of what the team's trying to do. And so they're not going to succeed as much as they will in this preseason. And so let's go through some of the routes. For example, Equanimous St. Brown. If you ever watch one of his college highlights, one of them's going to be this just crossing pattern where he's just running across the field, it's dumped off to him, and he makes an amazing play, running like catching it, turning upfield, and outrunning everyone. Well, those are the routes Green Bay's having him run all of preseason. And if you're familiar with these games and you've seen them, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They basically just line him up and run him across the field, and those are his big plays. Those are his only catches. He does other routes, but in the other routes, you don't see highlights of them because he doesn't make the catch. He doesn't get open. He doesn't make the catch. And so the Packers are just running him across the field and dumping it off to him, and he's making great plays because he's really fast and good at that. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a speedster. He's got height. He can jump. And he's catching the ball here on this slant, and it's one of the few. He had a great game last week. He's actually kind of developing. He's running a bit of other routes, but he's more of a vertical guy. He's more going up and catching deep balls, beating the defense deep, catching the ball over cornerbacks. He's not running a ton of comebacks and slot patterns. And when in the commentary of this game, they mentioned that McCarthy wants him to play all three positions, and he can. Look, I mean, he's very athletic, but he really needs to develop this route. Look, that's just not very good. I know, again, he catches it, but he's going to need to get a little better in that. And if he wants to be all three routes. And so right now, again, it's predictable. He's kind of going to go over the top, run some posts, run some go routes, but needs to work on some comebacks and some other things. All right, I know Kumaro is not a rookie, but he's a new guy blossoming this year, and a few things you can note when you watch him. I mean, he's had a few big touchdown catches, but let's talk about the things that matter, the details, and why Aaron Rodgers has praised him and why he's making some plays. This is a really good play that shows his potential moving forward. Why this is not just a fluke. I mean, he's a talented player, and again, so when you talk about receiver success in the NFL, if you can't get off the press, you're not going to be successful. And you can see in this play, Kumaro is very strong. He knows how to get off the press, and that's going to suit him very well because, if they can't press you, got to play off you. If they play off you, you can do quite a few things. And on this play here, you can just see his strength. Right off the bat, they try to press him. Whoop! Just throws the guy off of him. Now, you don't see that too often, how well he gets his hand underneath the cornerback's arm and tosses him. Look, he tosses him like maybe a yard or two off and breaks that slant. And when they rave about him in preseason and camp so far, I mean, this is one of the things why. When you can get off press like this, you can do a lot of things with someone. And his touchdown later in the game came off of an out pattern where he did a similar thing. He doesn't create great separation, but his route is so precise, and he gets off the cornerback at the stem of his route so well. And it's also a great throw by Kaiser. But at the same time, this is why he's being raved about, is he can get off press. He's got really strong upper body strength. Some of the better receivers you'll see, or all the better receivers in the NFL you'll see, have great upper body strength because you have to be able to jostle with your arms at the top of your routes, during your routes, get off press, and he's got all this. And he's got the knack for running a precise route, and that's going to make him successful. And we'll see what he does during the regular season, how much he gets in there. But this is the kind of talent that shows so someone has graduated from being a rookie or practice squad person to someone who can genuinely contribute on the field. Last video on the wide receivers. This is going to be for Jamon Moore up here. And this is a very subtle thing, but it shows development. And on this play, it's not a catch, and it's not even a penalty, even though it should be. But let's talk about how he makes this happen. Now, in the NFL, a lot of times, like, cornerbacks are where you're going to run a go route. And some of the better players, like you talk about DeAndre Hopkins, you talk about Antonio Brown, some of the things in Odell Beckham, some of the things they do, they don't always just blow by a cornerback. But the important thing is defenses are going to know what you're running, and you're in top tier. You're playing against top tier athletes, so you're not always going to burn everyone. But even when you don't beat them, demonstrating sound technique and being able to come up with a catch is so impressive, and that happens here. Now on this play, Jamon Moore he's just a rookie. He's teamed up here, and he hasn't beaten his man. Ball's already released. But notice two things: his acceleration and his technique to get by Sensible. Now, I can't zoom in because this is just the only free YouTube view I have. But if you look at two things he does so well, one right here, it's hard to see, but as Sensible puts his arm onto Jamon Moore actually does a swim move over his arm, kind of in this motion, and gets enough strength to push through his arm and acceleration to explode by him. Now again, they are even right here, about at the 40. And in 5 yards, he creates full body separation. And then even more gets by him. And it's good technique. And in terms of swimming over, right, again, one more right there, swims over him. And is able to use his strength combined with his arms over him there, acceleration, and come up. Now, Sensible even holds his hand, and he's still able to blow by him. And this is something that you don't see rookie receivers do too often. I'm trying to fast forward to a good here, right here. Do they show? It's too blurry. But right there, as you could see, Sensible's arm right here was behind him. He had swum over him, and now he's already completed the move. Now Sensible is holding him, and he still explodes by him. And again, this kind of technique is the kind of stuff you see from DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, players like that. It's not necessarily things you see from rookies, and it's a good sign that he's going to be developing. He's up and coming. He's already moving pretty fast. I'm going to show the first touchdown for the Steelers, and this is in the highlights, you could see, but there's a few intriguing things to note. I'll talk about both teams, but mostly to point out Mohammed Wilkerson right here. But let's run through the play real quick. Let's see why I have a problem with it. And right off the bat, you see Mohammed Wilkerson, terrible leverage, gets completely blown off the ball. And blown so far out of the hole, I can't even imagine how you're paying someone $5 million to get blown up that badly. And he does get double teamed, kind of, but not really. He just takes terrible leverage and just gets blown so many yards back and can't get off the block. And it leads to a touchdown. And there's a few things that also you could kind of point to being problems from many directions for the Packers defense on this play, but ultimately you can blame it on Wilkerson. But here we go, right off the snap, here, right here, didn't stop in time. You would think that, even though Mohammed Wilkerson got double teamed, that he should, Martinez should be here, but here you can see he's ready to fill the hole. What actually deceives him is there's a whole backside, and James Conner, so Conner is an up-and-coming guy, but you can tell that he's really good, but he's not Le'Veon Bell level, and everyone knows that. Here's one reason why. Look, he gets the handoff. He knows that there's a backside cut and a frontside cut. One thing that makes him you can tell he's kind of learned from Le'Veon is how to manipulate the linebackers. Martinez is ready to fill this hole. He's not out of position. He's ready to fill this hole. But if you look at James Conner here, Conner gets the ball and shifts his feet and both his hips pointing backside. This is really impressive because he's selling this. He's not just selling it by looking at it. He's actually selling it physically by pointing his hips and his feet this way. And so right here, you'll see that Martinez's reaction is he sees the play develop, he sees the hole, and he sees the hips pointing. So he shifts his weight this way. And so you're wondering, why is he doing, he should be in this hole. Why is he not? Well, that's why. It's a really good play by James Conner. But if you can see how the play develops, Kenny Clark's coming this way, and he could technically make the tackle if he could actually see where the ball is. He makes kind of a weird play, but Kenny Clark's a beast. He's one of the best linemen in the league. I'm not going to rag on him. I think he just literally couldn't see where the ball was on this play. But this is why Connor's not amazing. So, but he's really good. So when you look at, he's looking backside. He's looking actually at this hole in here, and he was originally going to take that, but he saw, I think this is Gilbert closing that gap, and so he kind of cuts back to this lane, which is being closed by Kenny Clark and Clay Matthews. If he cuts it out here, he's probably got a huge gain. The reason he doesn't is why I said he's not Le'Veon Bell-esque, where he doesn't have the acceleration lateral quickness to get all the way out here and still make a great play on it. Also, he does know Martinez is kind of coming to this side, but if he can get out here, he knows he can outrun him, but he knows that he can't. So he has to stay in between both B gaps, and he's limited. You know, he's maybe 2-gap kind of guy, not a LaShawn McCoy, Le'Veon Bell 3-gap busted outside type player. But anyways, so let's run this forward, because this is about the Packers, not James Conner. But as the play's coming, Martinez gets fooled, thinks he takes one false step, and the offensive line is already on him. So he's blocked. Mohammed Wilkerson had been blown so many yards off the line of scrimmage, and then you think Kenny Clark's going to bail him out. And then what Kenny Clark does just intrigues me. I guess he just couldn't see the ball. He's about to make this play, fights through everything, and then spins off the guy right when he can make the tackle, which leads me to believe he just didn't see the play. And so there's just, and then here, missed tackle by the safety. And again, James Conner's a really good player, you can tell. I mean, this right here, so good manipulating the linebackers. Martinez, you know, I can't fault him for this. I fault Wilkerson, because Wilkerson got blown, let's see, 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. And, you know, even that Martinez is just trying to read the holes and read the running back. And the reason he's blocked so quickly is because his offensive lineman's allowed to get up on him, because Mohammed Wilson can't hold what, I don't even think that was a double team. It's just a simple single team. And you don't see this from Montravius Adams. Let's go to some Montravius Adams tape to show you what the difference is between the two of these, and why I think, you know, the way Montravius Adams is playing, maybe he should be starting over Wilkerson, despite the fact that Wilkerson's being paid a lot of money. So here's the play for Montravius Adams where he's double teamed and holds up at the point of attack. All right, he's right here, double teamed, doesn't lose his ground, and sheds the blocker entirely. So let's look at it one more time. Double team, doesn't budge too much, gets under the guy, throws him off of him, and squeezes through. Great play, great strength. Here's another great play by Montravius Adams, and I'll show you where he is. He's right here, and he allows this play to happen. Warren Burks makes a great play, but here's why. Look at this explosion. Oh, sorry, that's a different play. But look at this play on the run. Now he's only single teamed, but look at his explosion off the ball and ability to drive the guard back, shed him, and make the tackle again. Now it's not like Mohammed Wilkerson has done this in career and can't do it, but as of right now, what I'm seeing Wilkerson do in the preseason compared to what Adams is showing a full portfolio of talent and versatility and just making great plays. Alright, let's move on to Reggie Gilbert. This kid is rising like a star so fast, and let me show you why his production is real. And this play is so good for it. Off the snap, it's not the speed, it's, look at this. First of all, the hands. He gets his hands on the guy's chest and has a great swipe move. What that allows is for him to get right there. One more time. It allows him to have good hands, is so important with the pass rush. Secondly, it gives him leverage. He's gotten past the guy using great handwork. Now that's what all the greats do. It's so important. Now this is what stood out to me when I watched this play. After this, he gets YM, and look here. It's so important for pass rushers to flatten out. All the best ones have great hip flexion, and once they get past an offensive lineman, it's so important to turn your hips towards the quarterback. If you don't drive your hips, if you don't turn towards them, you know, you'll get pressure and force them to step up, but you're not going to get the actual sacks. You're not going to be an impact player. And look how he gets by this guy and in one step plants his feet, turns his hips, and shoots upfield to effect this play. And this is the type of athletic movement right there. Sticks it and turns his hip. And that is how you become a starter in the NFL. That is how you are an effective pass rusher. And when you see younger players and rookies and people try to make this pass rush, you don't see plays like this. You don't always see this from a lot of pass rushers in the NFL. That is a rare ability. This is why he's been getting so much hype. This is why he's been getting so much play time. And that foot, that ability to turn his hip and stick his foot, is why he's become starting material. And he's really, really impressive. He's had such good games all preseason, and this is exactly why. This is not fake production. He has the athleticism to do so. To succeed in the NFL, you need to have more than just an outside move. Here on this play, he shows a great inside move, and a few elements to this again. Look, he gets up on the guy. Look at the hand movement. Gets up, swats the arms, he swats the arms and pulls himself around. And now that he's got position, the important thing you need to have when you cut inside is base strength, so that the lineman can't drive you off your line. And he shows that as well here. Look, he gets by him, and I know he doesn't get the sack here, but he has a good inside move, makes a great move, and sticks to his line. Look, he doesn't get driven this way. He puts his foot down right there and drives. Again, squares his hip towards the quarterback to maintain his line. Like, he tries to get pushed right there. Or there. You know what I mean. You see it. And is able to maintain that line. And if he doesn't get rid of it, he's getting pressure on the quarterback. So here's the very next play again. He's just going to show another great inside move. And again, if you can go outside and inside, you're a starter in the NFL. Look at that move. Inside again. And he'll eventually make the sack. But what's important to note is he gets up outside, the guy oversets, he's able to use his hands and has the athleticism to jump past them. And now look at this. He plants his foot. He doesn't really have perfect position. I mean, the tackle's still in his way. But look at this foot here, and look at this drive, that strength, where he doesn't have great position. But again, he can make just one step and plant that foot right there and drive, keep on his line, and affect the play for a great sack. Again, he can go inside, he can go outside, he's got great strength, he's got great moves. That is the keys for success, that balanced athleticism. Another important characteristic for a successful pass rusher and defensive lineman is persistence. So this is also a great play. Two things that it features here, his strength and his persistence. He doesn't get to the quarterback immediately, because it's kind of jammed up. He wants to go inside. The running back knows he went inside the last few times, clogs that up. Watch him shove one-handed with the running back actually helping block him at that time. He shoves the offensive lineman just back one-handed entirely. That is just incredible strength. Still doesn't get to the guy, doesn't affect the play, but sticks with it and makes the sack. And a lot of sacks happen in the NFL. I mean, these linemen are good. They know what they're doing. You know, you can have an elite pass rusher, but they're not always going to get there on time. But a lot of successful defensive linemen are ones that stay persistent throughout the play. And he demonstrates that ability here, makes the sack. And again, another element of really good pass rusher. We're going to show one more Montravius Adams clip switching from Reggie Gilbert. As you can see, Reggie Gilbert is really blossoming into a starting material. Could be Pro Bowl if he keeps developing at this rate by the end of the year. Now, Montravius Adams, in the last one I talked about how if we use him as a 3 technique and a penetrator, that's what he's good at. Well, they didn't use him. They used him a lot in 2 technique and man-on-man. Here, let's look at this play where they use him in his strength, and look how dominant he is. Right here, off the snap. Trying to get a half man on him, that's just not going to work. Completely blows the play up. Now he needs to make that tackle, but let's not focus on that at the moment. Let's just focus on how quick he is off the line. He's already got just like a head start on these guys. And once he gets in there, I mean, no half man's blocking him. Look how strong he is and explosive he is. And used like this in the regular season, he's going to be very dangerous, especially against a lot of zone runs. And this is not something I see Mohammed Wilkerson do. The final thing I want to go over today from the game that I found intriguing was this particular offensive play. Now, it lost yardage, it didn't do anything great, it wasn't executed perfectly, but I just want to focus on the intriguing elements of it. I haven't seen it yet. Ooh. Here we go. Now, let's look at the elements of this play real quick. It's just a zone run play where the tight end pulls backside. It's just a standard run play that's become, that arose from the NFL about 2-3 years ago, where it's just another way to pull the defense one way, get it flowing, and backside create a hole and hit the linebacker to make that backside lane with the tight end. Now this is exactly what the play call is, and Lance Kendricks is coming here. But this extra wrinkle really intrigues me. I haven't seen it yet, and maybe it's been run by other teams and I just haven't noticed it. But look on the play. This is almost a three-way option where you have the tight end coming backside, you have front side outside zone. Maybe this is inside zone. It doesn't look like it's necessarily outside zone. It's outside inside zone to this side is the first option lane. Second, the running back should have this back lane if the defense over pursues, just the standard zone scheme that everyone knows. And then here we have Geronimo Allison going on a reverse. Now, if this was a fake, Bud Dupree has completely messed up because Geronimo Allison is getting this ball and running outside. And I really like this element. I mean, you're really forcing some discipline on the defense from this perspective because they have to not overcommit to this outside. So if they don't overcommit constantly, you can hit this hole. If they do overcommit, this backside is either wide open for a back cut if you give it to the running back, or for this reverse. And another thing it shows you that I like to see if they run this in a real game, testing out this backside linebacker. Now, Bud Dupree remains completely undisciplined here. And what this tells you is you can run a lot of plays off of this based off of his lack of discipline. He just straight up runs for this gap and just does not care about backside contain. And there's a lot of things you can do with this play action pass, all sorts of things, or just give this reverse for more important plays in the future of the game. I just saw this was intriguing, wanted to bring it up because I've never really seen the Packers run this play, and you can leave in the comments if you have and this is standard, but I was very intrigued by it and I like the creativity going forward for our offense. Alright, in the interest of wrapping up this video and keeping it shorter, the last two things I just wanted to know. I was going to show scenes from, or plays that demonstrate this, but I'll just talk about it. I'll go to this first. Kyle Murphy and Jason Spriggs cannot pass block. They were constantly beat off the edge by a speed rush every time, without fail. They're two promising guys. Kyle Murphy's a great run blocker at Stanford, and Spriggs is really athletic, but they have not developed. And so if anybody's wondering if they're coming along, they're going to be able to replace anyone, not yet. They look terrible. Constantly beat off the edge by even no moves, just people running to the edge. So hopefully they kind of they can develop soon. But finally, the Packers scheme, both interceptions you saw, Tramon Williams and Josh Jackson, were both on out routes or comebacks where they just drove on the ball and picked it off. And one thing that I did notice, so the Eagles like to play a good amount of off man, and they like to draft cornerbacks that can drive on the ball quickly and are good in short space and good acceleration. So when you talk about someone like a Jalen Mills, and then they also two cornerbacks they got this year. They drafted Avonte Maddox and they signed Jordan Thomas out of Oklahoma. Both these players were the top two runners, and I think the 3-cone drill, or short shuttle. One of the two or both. But they get these guys that are good at those two drills with short air explosiveness, and because what they like is they want to put a lot of pressure on, like either blitz or good pass rush, and then they have their cornerbacks sit off and aggressively attack downfield, and they'll have their safeties back to protect if it's a double move, but between the pressure, they shouldn't have time to double move. And there's one thing, so both with Tramon Williams and Josh Jackson, you notice they came down hard on both those interceptions that they took back for touchdowns. And it's a similar concept that the Eagles like to run. They like to keep their men off their ball and drive forward to either pick it or make a strong tackle. And it's a copycat league. It worked for the Eagles last year, and I think Mike Pettine's installing it, and I think that's pretty exciting for the Packers' future and for our secondary development going forward. As always, thank you for watching this episode, and if you like my content and haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I plan to be releasing videos as often as I possibly can, because ultimately I want to make a career out of this, whether it be self-supporting through YouTube videos like this or something else happens, I get picked up somewhere along the way. And if you like my videos and want to support me financially to continue to do this as often as I possibly can, my Patreon account's up to the top right. And if there's anything that you want me to do a video of or explain or answer, just leave in the comment section and I will be sure to get a video out as soon as I can on that. And I just want to again thank you so much for your support, and moving forward hopefully this can become a good thing.